Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Blancpain 50 Fathoms Bathyscaphe in stainless steel. You can see and you can purchase this reference 5000 on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during the video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this stainless steel 43mm 5-day power reserve diving watch. Now the watch on my wrist represents the nirvana to the conventional 50 Fathoms Guns N' Roses. If reference 5015 is big, brash, highly polished, highly elaborated, perhaps a bit more exhibitionist with stagecraft to spare and a sensibility like a Lamborghini Countach in red with the wing, well, that's the 80s sort of larger-than-life rock star mentality and the rock star wrist presence. This is like nirvana. This is Kurt Cobain and co. stripped down to the bare essentials, a purist's choice, simply constructed but masterfully so, and just like the original 50 Fathoms, this one is an all-timer. So this is the nirvana to the conventional 50 Fathoms Guns N' Roses, and it starts with the size. 43mm across the round of the case instead of 45. Now that's not including the charmingly vintage oversized crown. 43mm though, and quite slim. This is where it really ekes out an advantage over its more elaborate brother. The watch is 13.4mm thick, and it will slide underneath a dress cuff more easily than the roughly 16mm thick 5015. The watch is 49.7mm lug-to-lug too, so the lugs are short cropped. At under 50mm across the wrist, it opens up a lot of options for those who think the conventional watch wears too large. Now you can see on my 16cm circumference wrist, it wears well. I believe you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14.5cm in circumference. It would look right, it would sit right. Stainless steel, so it's got a little bit of heft to it that the titanium version and the ceramized version didn't have. You can see it's on a very substantial strap. The strap, thick cut, it is a Blancpain factory strap, massive in profile with a contrasting stitch. It's a reddish brown, more reddish than brown, a handsome calfskin that shows the softer side, the more sports casual side of the 50 Fathoms Bathyscaphe. This isn't the hardcore diver's option. Nevertheless, it is handsome, it is versatile, and it opens up sartorial options that you might not have with a NATO strap. Now speaking of the NATO strap, this is a aftermarket buckle on the strap. The original strap is currently on the accessory NATO strap that also arrives with this watch when you buy it from us. You get the full Pelican case and the accessory strap with the original buckle. You get this Blancpain factory strap and that accessory strap I just showed you thrown in as part of the deal. Now the case is all of satin finish. There's no polish here because minimizing glare and toning down the look of the 5015 is part of the Bathyscaphe's mission in life. Simple, with a handsome bevel about the flank of the lugs, otherwise all of a muted, grained finish. When you look topside, you see a ceramic rather than sapphire capped bezel, so ceramic with liquid metal infill, the liquid metal alloy being an amorphous grain that effectively permabonds to the ceramic, so the metal and the ceramic will never separate. Robustly scratch resistant. You get the same scratch resistance as you do on the 5015 sapphire. You also get a dramatically less bubble-like appearance for this watch. Again, this is the stripped down sports watch purist's option for those who don't want to go full Guns N' Roses for the wrist. Now it is a unidirectional bezel. It has an excellent detent action, and I actually have to say the feel of the detent and the sound of the detent is far more robust than on the 5015. The standard 50 Fathoms is just a little bit creamy, like they wanted to impart a Cadillac quality to the action of the bezel. A lot of dive watch purists want your bezel to roar, and this one does. You can hear it, you can feel it. Line up that luminescent pearl with the vintage style hands, and you can time in intervals 0 to 60 minutes pretty easily. Lollipop style seconds, again, vintage purists, you're going to love that, but it's built to a higher standard than a vintage watch with white gold hands at center, white gold applied indices, beautifully luminescent, it glows like a torch, high contrast white on black printing for the date disc, and a wonderfully discreet, old-timey Blancpain crest and marquee at 6 o'clock, and rather Bathyscaphe at 6 o'clock and Blancpain marquee and crest at 12 o'clock. Again, on modern watches, it tends to get a little bit oversized to the point that Let's make a comparison here. You can see the size of the marquee on a Patek Philippe timepiece these days. Rolling back the clock, or I should say the watch, is Blancpain with its graphics. Now, the surface of the dial is a sunburst gray. It's richly textured. It's a dramatic sunburst too. Some catch the light more than others. This is that kind. Turn the watch over and you can see the engine. Now, also note the size of the crown in relation to the case. Easy to use, deeply knurled, vintage style in that it's somewhat larger than it has to be for aesthetic purposes, but perfect when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. Caliber 1315, same as you'll find in its larger cousin. Now, 5 days of power reserve, anti-magnetic with a silicone hairspring, 28,800 vibrations per hour. It features a black and gold winding mass, the 5-day power reserve, or 120 hours. It features hacking seconds, pull the crown, stop the balance, and I'll show you how that works. So you can stop the seconds hand and synchronize to a reference time. It also features a quick set function, so you can cycle the date and change it. It features a level of hand finishing that is uncommon in the sports watch category, especially the steel sports watch category. The level of finishing on the edge of every bridge, and you can see the edge of this bridge right next to the balance lighting up. The anglage is mirrored, rounded, executed by hand. This is not a mechanically finished movement. It does have some distinctive finishing features, such as the richly splayed, grained texture across the bridges rather than Côte de Genève, but it's beautifully executed, and you can see within the jewel sinks the same level of mirrored finish. The screw heads are all black polished, and you can see how they turn black as I tilt them through the light. And of course, 300 meters water resistant, all the water resistance you're ever going to need, even for most professional diving applications. This is a tough movement, I should mention too, derived from the manual wind 13RO. It's about 5.5 millimeters thick, which is to say, measures were taken to keep it thick enough to be robust, and with a free-sprung architecture, it can resist shock or vibration-induced timing deviations. It's a modern movement developed in the 2000s specifically for rough-and-tumble sporting applications and hand-finished to the highest standards of the valet de jeu. So, are you Guns N' Roses or are you Nirvana? If you're feeling the grunge, the Blancpain 50 Fathoms Bathyscaphe, available for sale on our website.